Hi, everyone. John Wenham concludes his chapter on hell with a statement about the need for fresh study. He concludes it with an encouragement to continue to study and to look at different points of view, not to shut down discussion, but with the goal or the aim of continuing the discussion so that there is the possibility of us coming to a common mind on this, but at the very least of understanding each other's positions. This is what he says. The matter under consideration, the problem is a real one and a biblical one. It is because of his knowledge of the God of the Bible, the God of justice and love and omnipotence, that the Christian is troubled. He finds it difficult to imagine that God tolerating, he finds it difficult to imagine that God tolerating ceaseless torment. Now he mentions a specific book here by a gentleman, H.E. Guillebaud, and his book, he says his best known book on atonement, Why the Cross. Included in that work a note on eternal punishment, in which he appears to take the traditional view for granted. He then gave himself to a more thorough study of the moral problems of the Bible. This resulted in 2 manuscripts, one of which was published in 1941, just after his death, under the title Some Moral Difficulties of the Bible. The other manuscript dealt with the doctrine of hell and came to conditionalist conclusions, but no publisher could be found for this until 1964, when it was printed privately under the title The Righteous Judge. A few years later, B.F.C. Atkinson, a Greek scholar and author of several books on biblical subjects, published, also privately, a work entitled Life and Immortality, an examination of the nature and meaning of life and death as they are revealed in the Scriptures. This was the fruit of lifetime study and is a remarkable piece of sustained argument. Even more remarkable is the vast work of L.E. Froom, and his book is The Conditionalist Faith of Our Fathers, and it's 2,476 pages of well-organized, lucid exposition, and it's put out by the Seventh-day Adventist publishers. These books are not above criticism, nor, on the other hand, can they fairly be ignored. They cover a great deal of difficult and controversial ground. They are not always in agreement with one another and are admirably suited to initiate a thorough debate. It is important that the stigma of heresy should not be attached to this point of view, at least until there has been full and free discussion. Discussion there must be if Christians are to be renewed in a common mind for the faithful proclamation of the gospel. I'm going to include in the description all these titles and authors' names. The aim for this book has been to discourage those who hold traditional orthodoxy from surrendering it lightly, while encouraging the serious consideration of the case for conditional immortality. But as far as the thesis of this book is concerned, we shall consider ourselves under no obligation to defend the notion of unending torment until the arguments of the conditionalist has been refuted. We shall assume that the realities of judgment are at least as awful as conditionalists maintain, and shall try to see how these fit into the pattern of other judgments found in the Bible and history. And let it be quite clear that these realities are awful indeed. Jesus and his disciples taught again and again in terrible terms that there is an irreversible judgment and punishment of the unrepentant. Warnings and loving invitations intermingle to encourage us to flee from the wrath to come. So I would leave off with the question of, do we try to understand a person who holds a different position than us? And I'm going to link 2 videos. One is a James Orr video. It's about parousia, a caution written in 1904, I think it is. It's either 4 or 9, compared to Russell and prophecy teachers. And this, so the idea of the day of the Lord, he says, is with us from the Old Testament times, that one day God will judge the whole world in righteousness. And the second video is what J.W. Org is not telling you about Christian unity.